I have a lot of stories to tell about my work trying to create a culture of peace. It probably began when I observed my mother during the Depression. I was about 10 years old one day when she came home from her work at Chicago's social services, visibly grieving because she did not have adequate resources to offer her impoverished clients. That seemed to be the beginning thrust toward my activism, and I grew up realizing that trying to make things better in the world was a way of life for her and for me. There was one morning when I woke up with a start, trying to reconcile where I was with my recently purchased sleeping bag. I realized I was in the home of a family of Guatemalan refugees. We went to Guatemala to join with Peace Brigades International in order to accompany refugees who were returning to Guatemala from Mexico, where they had been for the past 10 years. We were given an opportunity to stay overnight with a family in one of the refugee camps in Chiapas, Mexico. That morning, I went outside with the children and we wrote things in the dirt with a stick so they could see their names written in English. The brother of our host family lived next door, and he came over with his wife and child in order to ask us whether we thought it was safe for people to return to Guatemala at that time. We had brought rice and beans with us because of their scarce resources, so they would not impose on them. So we shared a meal of beans and tortillas with the family. They were gracious and welcoming, and we were privileged to share their home with them. Peace Brigades International sends groups to countries where human rights activists are in jeopardy. They accompany them during the day, serving as a protective bodyguard for the activists. In this instance, they had invited people from the U.S. and Canada to join them in greeting the refugees as they returned to Guatemala after 10 years in Mexico. Many other groups like Doctors Without Borders were also at the point of entry. The PBI experience fit into my activism to find programs that provide alternatives to violence. Throughout my activist work, I have done things like co-facilitating a workshop in 1985 at an international wealth conference for women from 22 different countries. I also participated in an alternative to violence project at a prison in Canyon City, Colorado. My other efforts have involved meeting with women from other countries to find our mutual concerns for peace, such as the Soviet Women U.S. WILF Seminar in Moscow in 1983, and meeting with the All China Women's Federation in China in 1986. I was also involved in a women's tour in Cuba. Finally, a major thrust in my life has been meeting with Israelis and Palestinians in Israel and the occupied territories. Activism around alternatives to violence continues to be my life's work.
Right here at Guantanamera, Guantanamera.